Hey everyone, we're almost 3 weeks into the new year. How are your goals coming? Well, you didn't get to where you are overnight. Let's talk about it today on the Landlord Coach Daily-ish show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish show. My name is Mark Dolfini, Landlord Coach and host of the Landlord Coach Daily-ish show. And it has truly been a daily-ish show lately. Last week I was in St. Louis attending a mastermind group that I belong to. If you've not ever been part of a mastermind group, I will tell you that is something that's been truly, truly amazing for me. If you're not aware of what a mastermind group is, or if you're in part of a mastermind group, go ahead in the comment section and let me know, because I'd be interested to see how many other people are in a mastermind, because I really didn't know what a true mastermind was. That's not really the topic of today's conversation, but in terms of goal setting and being able to follow through of your making steps and action plans towards your vision, I'm telling you, man, mastermind groups are really, really good accountability partners, getting ideas to bounce off of and everything like that. So I do host a mastermind. That's not why I'm saying all this, but the true take your business, your life to a whole other level. I'm telling you, mastermind group is a really, really cool thing. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about basically the concept of today is you didn't get to where you are overnight. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a positive way. That of many of you, right, we're 18 days in the new year. And I know there's a lot of people who've got lots of different goals, whether they're, all these New Year's resolutions out there, right? Whether you've got fitness goals, that tends to be a common thing, financial goals or weight loss goals or whatever. Maybe you've got goals for your own rental business. I said Rolls. Maybe that's one of your goals is to have a Rolls Rolls Royce. Wouldn't be nice. Wouldn't be bad. But I'm reminded of a conversation that I had. It was actually with my sister, who is really, really smart. I mean, she's always been one of those people who was always good in school, always got good grades, and I am definitely much more of a risk taker than she is. She's a CPA. She's a school teacher. She kind of has done her own, done well with that through education through her life. And there's my bride sending you love from me and the kiddos. Well, hello, Jenny Poo. Nice to see you, sweetheart. So this was back in 2000. I want to say maybe 2010, 2011. And of course, my personality, I tend to be a little impatient, for results, especially when I know I've been doing the right thing for a while, in terms of finances or whatever. Well, my finances were a complete mess because of the way I was running my rental business up to that point with, I didn't have any vision. I didn't have any infrastructure. I sure as hell didn't have any processes. It was all basically shoved in my head. So I'm trying to do better, right? Whatever better meant. I didn't really have any definition of what better meant. I guess if I made $1 more today than I did yesterday, that was better. But I didn't really have any real specifics. And I'm reminded of this phrase that she said, and it was just so relevant. And I always come back to this, whether it's through my coaching, whether it's through my teaching or whatever. But, my desire, I just wanted to be able to make my life a little bit better in terms of my rental business. My rental business was a complete mess. I was upside down on about $5 million worth of real estate, and I managed to save some of it, not all of it, but I was upside down on a bunch of real estate. And my plain desire was just to at least dig out of this hole. Now, there was no way I was going to, you got to understand, I was completely flat on my back, quite literally and figuratively. From a financial perspective, I was flat on my back because I had, was used to about $60,000 a month in revenues coming in. And that was in effect cut in half during the Great Recession. Well, my bills didn't change. I still had, roughly 55,000 or so in overhead that I still had to cover every month. Well, that nut wasn't getting covered. So as a result, I was flat on my back financially, but I was also flat on my back physically because I had caught double pneumonia because I was working so many hours just trying to keep all the balls in the air. So one of the things that, my plan was basically to try to keep and salvage all I could, get into as many workout arrangements and whatever I could. But basically, I did not want to file for bankruptcy. That was my low water mark. I was not going to do that. I was going to do everything I could to keep from doing that. So, I'm doing all the right things right now. I feel like success has a cumulative effect, right? I think activity has a cumulative effect. So if you do enough of the right things over a long period of time and you avoid doing the wrong things, right? I feel that enough of those right things start to have a cumulative effect. And that's when you get this big hockey stick, right? So it's like you don't go to one college class for, 1 week and go, well, I've been to college. Why am I not making a bunch more money? Well, it's the cumulative effect of multiple years in college where you get a degree and then all of a sudden you can command a higher salary. Generally, I'm using in general terms, right? That's not always the case, certainly not in this economy, but that it follows to reason, right? Well, if you do enough of the right things and stay away from enough of the wrong things, like if you're doing enough of the right things, you're spending appropriately, you're not getting crazy, you're making good choices, and all of a sudden you go to Vegas and blow 20 grand. Well, you've made a massive deficit or deduction in your cumulative impact of doing all the right things, right? And that's why I say it's got a cumulative effect. Well, there's one thing that my sister had said, and she said it, in relationships that I had. She said it basically in this particular case here. She said, you didn't get to where you are overnight. You're not going to be able to fix it overnight. And that was so incredibly true. And I use that often in terms of when I'm judging where I'm at with my, with whatever it is, whatever's in my vision, whatever's in my vision for my life, personally, am I doing enough of the right things over enough long period of time to get to where I want to be, right? I didn't get to where I was overnight. I'm not going to be able to fix it overnight. So I guess as I'm looking at this in relation to many of you, again, who've got financial goals and weight loss goals and fitness goals and, maybe goals for your rental business, if you've got goals, it's probably because you're not where you would necessarily want to be, but don't be discouraged. We're 18 days in, especially for those of you who have, some pretty lofty goals. We're 18 days in. You're probably not going to expect much in terms of change. Remember, you need 66 days on average to change something into a positive or into a new habit. Okay, not necessarily a positive habit, but in 66 days to form a new habit on average. If you're trying to break an old habit, in addition to starting a new habit, you might not have enough bandwidth to do both, right? I mean, if you want to, substitute, the law of substitution, right, says you can substitute one habit for another. But keep in mind, if you've got a deep-seated habit, it may take a longer period of time for you to change that out. So it stands to reason that you've got to stick to it. So we're nowhere near, you're not even a third of the way through it yet if you're looking to form a new habit. So those 66 days, we're not even quite into the month yet. So all I'm doing is telling you and encouraging you to stick with it. You're worth it. I promise you, you are worth it. You can make this happen. Just, you've got to stick to it, but you're nowhere near forming a new habit yet. So I know your muscles might be sore. You might be feeling a little down on yourself and you're feeling like you want to get online and buy some stuff, whatever it is. This is where I want to go back. And this is kind of where I want to leave my point today. And it reminded me of in my book, I talk about this thing called anticipated joy. And anticipated joy is kind of the reason why we want to do stuff. I'm not going to get into the whole thing about it, but you've got to be really fired up about why you're doing this thing in the first place. And if you're not fired up enough about it, you might have to reevaluate the thing that you're doing and why you're doing it all in the first place. If it's to be healthier, okay, but is it to be healthier, or is it so you could maybe be around to watch your children grow up, right? One of those is not going to fire you up at all, and the other one is probably going to be your every reason as to why you breathe. Does that make sense? So that, or, you know, if you're saying, well, I want to have 6-pack abs, okay, is that just so you can, you know, show off yourself in the mirror or at a beach? Or is it because you want to win a fitness contest that has always been a dream of yours? I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm using these as examples so you can really get that anticipated joy, that thing that's really going to fire you up, that's really going to make you feel like it solves a major problem for you. Because just for the sake of doing it because you feel like it's right, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough, especially if you're trying to form a new habit. So, you know, for me, one of the things that I had to do and learn to change my activities was, you know, I wanted to read the Bible from front to back for an entire year. Well, in order to do that, I have to make sure I read a certain number of pages each day. And if I miss a day, well, I have to catch up, or, you know, whatever. But it's no small feat, because it's like 1,800 pages. I've never read the Bible from front to back, and I'm actually quite amazed at how much is in the Bible that I never knew were even biblical references, like Samson and Delilah. I didn't know that was a biblical thing. Well, now I know, right? So it's just been amazing. So anyway, that's why I'm saying, like, for you, you know, find out, just number one, let yourself off the hook a little bit. You didn't get to where you are overnight, so you're not going to be able to fix it overnight. So give yourself a little bit of a break. Make sure you're focusing on that 66 days. If you've already fallen off the wagon, get back on the wagon. You can do it. Whatever you're going to change, you know, in the context of your rental business. If your rental business isn't running the way that you want it to run, you can change it. But you're not going to be able to change it with a policy over, you know, a couple of weeks. If you're not a detail person and you're just not good at following through on things, which many people are not, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But now you get to change that with putting someone else in charge of that. Maybe getting a virtual assistant, maybe getting some help, maybe helping them fix where you're weak. So you're not trying to fix the chinks in your armor, but you can focus on the things that you are good at. Maybe it's property acquisition. Maybe it's, you know, finding deals. Maybe it's helping other people, you know, negotiating deals, or whatever it is. But you focus what you're good at, and then get someone else to help you where you're weak. So that's really all I have for today. And let me see if there's anybody that's on there that's joined us online. Of course, my bride said hello earlier. Well, that's everybody that's joined us today. Well, that's pretty much all I have. I'm going to go home because I am beat. Our poor dog, she's not feeling good today. She has a urinary tract infection, and she is absolutely miserable. So poor Coco. Say a prayer for her if you're a dog lover, because she's just miserable right now. But let's go ahead and wrap it up with the quote of the day. This one makes I've heard this in a couple of different formats, but if you look really closely, most overnight successes took a long time, and that was by Steve Jobs, and who passed away, in my opinion, a little too early in his life. But God obviously had bigger plans for him. That's all I have for today, everybody. Please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome day, and I will see you next time.